Hi guys, today I'm here with a full face of Rimmel. Recently they sent me their new Stay Matte line. There's some new items, some new shades, etc, etc. So I figured before I actually do my review of that line, if you are interested in like a full kind of wear test, I wanted to test it out before, and then I figured we might as well make it a full face of Rimmel and just bring out some of my old favorites from them, a few that I haven't tried. In addition to that, I will link to a Rimmel playlist down below because I've done lots of videos on all of their new launches. They've come out with so much stuff over the past 2 years. And as for this Stay Matte line, it has launched in Canada. The US is generally a little later for Rimmel launches, but I will link to everything that I can find down below. If you haven't seen it at your local drugstore yet, it should show up soon. And don't forget, you can always check walmart.ca and shoppersdrugmart.com. beautyboutique.ca. What is the Shoppers website? I can't remember, but anyways, I'll list it all down below, but let's go ahead and get started. So the first item is the Stay Matte Primer. This is an oldie but a goodie. It's been out for a very long time. I've used this before. I had a bottle like years ago, and then I bought a bottle about a year ago, and then this was one that showed up recently for me. So this is their makeup primer. They have a few. There's a lasting finish, there's a breathable, and I like both of those, and I like the mattifying too. If you're looking for something that is matte and a little bit thick, but kind of in like a good way, this is a really good one because I don't find it to be too drying. It doesn't pill up on the skin. You definitely don't want to pile on too much onto your face, but it has a really, really nice texture, and I do feel like it mattifies without making everything feel like kind of tight on the skin. And overall, I find Rimmel to be one of the more affordable brands at the drugstore, which is always nice. So I definitely like this primer. This hasn't been reformulated or anything. Some of it is being repackaged, but I definitely like this. Moving on to the foundation, this again has been out for quite some time, and from what I can tell, the formula has not changed. They have just extended the shade range, which is great. There are how many shades? I think it's 23 or 24. Hold on. 23 shades in total, which I think is great. I'm wearing the shade 400 Natural Beige. They actually have new packaging. This is what the new packaging looks like, but this was just one of the older ones they sent me. I'm wearing 400 Natural Beige in their breathable foundation, which I absolutely love. Oh, it's one of my favorite foundations of 2018. I'll link that review down below. But I wear, oh, what do I wear in that? Maybe I do wear 400. This does feel a little bit light for me, but I think I was able to make it work once I added contour and highlight and bronzer and all that. It says it's lightweight, shine control, full coverage, minimizes pores, air-free, and it has the air-free, oil-free, and it has an airy texture. That's what I was getting at. I don't know how I feel about this, and I kind of felt the same way when I reviewed this about 5 years ago when my skin was quite a bit different. It was really, really oily at the time. Now it's kind of in a combo place, and I've been really into more like natural finish foundations, which is why I love the Breathable so much. It's the most beautiful like skin-like foundation. It's so good. So like I said, I'll link to that review down below. Historically, I'm just not a big mousse texture foundation person because I find that although this says that it is helping to minimize pores, I don't find that that's the case. I don't really have an issue with pores, and I feel like the texture, like, to build it up to the full coverage that they say it can get, I feel like you need to put too much on your face, and just with the matte texture and that kind of mousse texture, it just isn't the most flattering on textured skin in my opinion. And right now my skin is in a very good place, and I feel like up close, like from your view it might look okay, but for me up close I think something like the Breathable foundation just looks miles better. It looks so much more natural. It's gonna be a personal preference thing. If you like a more mousse-like foundation, then that tends to work better with your skin. This could be one for you. For me, I'm just not a mousse foundation person because I find that they never give the coverage that they say they do. They kind of sit on the skin, and they can kind of like enhance the things that you don't want to. So I don't know, I'm gonna need to test this out a little bit more with some different primers and whatnot. I definitely was able to make it work, but if I had to choose between this and Breathable, definitely would be going for the Breathable. I kind of forgot how much I loved this, so I'm glad that I'm doing this video and I rediscovered it. It is the Insta Duo contour stick, and this is a double-ended contour stick. I was kind of thinking like maybe I should contour because my face is looking a little bit light right now, and I was like, oh my god, I have a Rimmel one. This is totally underrated. I feel like the contour side is easy to blend. It's great to warm up the skin. skin. And the thing I love about this is sometimes with contour like duos, you really only kind of want to use one side or only one side appeals to you. But for this, I love the contour and I equally love the highlighter. It is this beautiful satin finish, so natural on the skin but still glowy. If you have textured skin, this is the kind of thing that's not going to enhance the texture on your skin too much. If you still want to add some glow but not like enhance the bumps on your skin, I feel like this does a great job because it's this really nice kind of satin finish, super easy and blendable as well. I did use the medium shade, and then I remembered I had the dark one, so I went in with dark just to deepen it up a little bit and kind of warm up my face overall. But I really love this contour duo. So excited to see that they have launched a concealer. This comes in 20 different shades, which is awesome. Unfortunately, here in Canada, a lot of the retailers don't tend to actually stock a lot of the shades, so it's not really a Rimmel thing. It's like a Shoppers, Walmart, Rexall, wherever you get your makeup from. So speak to them to encourage them to increase the size and ranges of products that they stock in store. But like I said, you can shop for these online now, which is a bonus because they'll have a better shade range. But for the concealer today, I wore the shade 312 Buff. This claims to be soft matte concealer. It says it is full coverage, long wearing, along with shine control, which is not something I necessarily look for in an under eye concealer, but if you're using it on acne perhaps. And then it also says that it feels comfortable all day and has a 24-hour wear. And I will not be testing out the 24-hour wear, but I really like this. I thought it was a good shade match. It looked a little yellow when I first put it on. One thing I will say though is I don't think it's full coverage. There's so many crazy full coverage concealers out there that this one just doesn't kind of compare when it comes to that. I'd say it's definitely more medium. I also really do like their breathable concealer. I will link to that down below. Like I said, I haven't used that in a while, so I can't totally compare the two, but I would say that this probably is going to be a little more matte while the breathable is going to be a little more creamy. And you're also getting way more shades in the Stay Matte. I think in the breathable concealer there's like 6 shades, and then in this one you're getting 20, which is awesome. And then you could also use this for contour as well. What I should say about the foundation is I used a sponge and I used a brush. Surprisingly, I ended up liking the sponge more, and I didn't find, also surprisingly, when I was blending out the cream contour, that it really lifted up any of the product. I was expecting it to lift off my face when I blended out the contour, but that didn't happen, so I'm glad about that. I think Rimmel does such an incredible job with their powders. They've always made really beautiful powders. I used the Clear Complexion powder to set my under eyes. I don't really have anything that has any color in it, which is kind of what I would have preferred because the concealer was a little more medium coverage, but I love this for the under eyes. I love it for the face. I think it is totally underrated. It's not, I don't know actually, I think I got this in a UK swap, but I'm pretty sure it is available in Canada and the United States. And then they have launched new shades of the Stay Matte powder, which is so exciting because they had a translucent and then they had like 3 other shades, but they were just kind of like, you know, like a sun beige, beige, and then like a neutral beige. It was very beige. So very excited that there are now 9 shades in the line. So I used it to set my face today. I've always been a huge fan of the Stay Matte powder. I love the Insta Matte. I love the Clear Complexion. I used, oh no, that's not the shade I used. I used the shade 016 Deep Beige, so I thought that this was a good match for my skin tone. It doesn't have a ton of color in it, which is nice because I feel like it's really good for setting your face. It's good for like an in-the-purse touch-up. This is generally like $5. It is such a good deal, but it still is really smoothing on the skin. It doesn't make anything look too matte or too dry. It just is a really great drugstore available powder. On my eyes, I used 3 different palettes. I couldn't decide like what kind of eye look I wanted to go for. I ended up going for something a little bit green, but the first palette that I used is the Magnifies Spice. Is that what this one is? Yeah, Spice, which I think is supposed to be a dupe for the Naked Heat, I believe was what that was. And like I said, I will have Rimmel videos listed down below which compare these palettes to their high-end counterparts. And overall, these palettes I love. The initial launches weren't my absolute favorite because they were modeled modeled after the Naked 1, 2, and 3, which were not my favorite. They weren't really my kind of shade ranges. There wasn't enough mattes or warm shades. So now we have warm shades and we have mattes, and I think these palettes are so good. Really easy to work with, blendable, long lasting. So I just used a combination of these 3 palettes to create this look. Nothing revolutionary here, but I have used all of these palettes before and I really do enjoy them. Drugstore eyeshadow palettes historically have been pretty bad, but the mattes in here are good, the shimmers are good, I think the shade ranges are good. Then I ended up using, actually on my lid, I was gonna use this as a base, but then I decided that it was really beautiful as just a lid shade. I had never used this before. It is the Wonder Swipe 2-in-1 liner and shadow, and I thought that these were just liners, but they're also shadows, and I mean, the majority of eyeliners that look like this, you could probably use it as a shadow, but I thought this green was so pretty. It looks really, really bright when you first put it on your lid, but then when I blend it out, it just, I thought had the most gorgeous green sparkle, and I was like, I can't cover that up with green shadow. Like, I was just planning on using it as a base. I forgot I owned it, and I hadn't used it since they had sent it my way, so I thought this was really pretty. It comes in a huge number of shades. Like, I think there's like maybe 15 or 20 different shades, really colorful ones too, which is always exciting to see at the drugstore, because a lot of the time drugstore brands don't play with color as much, but they're starting to more. I can't really speak to longevity on this or anything yet. Like I said, I'm just kind of playing around here with it, but I feel like it's going to be good. I feel like it's going to stick around, and what I like is it gave me like a glittery look, but I didn't have any fallout because it is kind of suspended in that liquid, easy to blend out with my fingers, and I thought it was a really easy way to get a little glitter on my lids. For my eyeliner, I used the Rimmel Wonder Swipe. I love this. I think it has a really good kind of tip on there. There's one that's thick, or it's like kind of thick and thin, so you can decide if you want to do a thicker liner, a thinner liner. I always go with the thinner side because by the time I get it right, it ends up being a little bit thick anyways. I don't think it says that this is waterproof, but I don't have any issues with it actually moving around or anything like that. I mean, I'm not going swimming, but it's nice and black, and it had no trouble getting over kind of the glitter on my lids. And then this mascara, ooh, this is probably one of my favorite things that I tried today. The Rimmel Wonderfully Real has been one of my favorite mascaras since I tried it last year. I don't even know what this is called. This is the Scandalize Wow Wings, and says that it's long-lasting, smudge-proof, transfer-proof. I've never had any issues with Rimmel mascaras, and it has like a double-sided brush on it, so one side is a little longer, one side is a little shorter, but wow, the minute this hit my lashes, it was like immediate volume, immediate length, so black. The formula is a little bit thick too, which I feel like added to the volume, and I love the look that this gave my lashes. I'm a bit of a mascara addict, and I tend to like a lot of mascaras, but this one definitely blew me away right off the bat, like just instant volume, and I was really impressed with this. I did use the Wonderfully Real on my lower lash line because I felt like this might be a little too voluminous for the lower lash line, but this really impressed me. To bronze, I decided to use the Stay Matte powder in a deeper shade and just see what happened. This is 31 Pecan, depending on who you ask, and I really like this as a bronzer because it's not like a translucent powder, but there's not a ton of color in here, so I feel like it was really beautiful on the skin. It looks super smooth, but you're never really going to use too much product necessarily because it isn't fully pigmented. It allows you to build it up, so I thought that this made an incredible bronzer. I will definitely be popping this in my bronzer drawer. Don't forget, if you have trouble at the drugstore or anywhere finding bronzers, take a look at face powders because they can make really beautiful light buildable bronzers, and I thought this did exactly that. So I'm very happy. I may try using one of the lighter shades under my eyes potentially because I really like the way that this ended up looking, but I thought this made an incredible bronzer. I did have pulled out their natural bronzer, which I really like this too, but I like that this one is completely matte, so I'm excited that this worked, and I'm excited to add a new bronzer to the group. For blush, I used one of the Rimmel Kate palettes. I really like their single blushes as well. This one is new. I didn't love the initial Rimmel Kate launches that had the bronzer, blush, and highlight, but I do really like these ones that are blush, bronzer, and highlight separately. I was going to use the highlighter palette, but I use something else instead. But yeah, I've talked about this before. I really like this. I think it's got three great, pretty distinct shades in here. One that's a little bit deeper, one that's kind of like, you know, your typical NARS Orgasm, and this was the one that I used that I thought was a really nice neutral. It just kind of looks like a Tarte Seduce or something like that. That's just very easy to pop on with just about anything that you're wearing. And the issue that I had with these 3 pans back in the day was that they kind of had this weird texture. They almost got that like hard pan and kind of stiffened up after use, and I did not have that with these, and I think they're really beautiful. The blush, bronzer, and highlight are all gorgeous. For my highlight, speaking of, I used an eyeshadow. This is one of the Rimmel Mono eyeshadows in Gold Record. I've talked about this before, and I actually filmed a best drugstore eyeshadow singles that make highlighters video. I'm currently in the process of pre-filming some videos before I go out of town, so I don't know exactly where they're all going to be popping up, but if anything I mentioned is uploaded, I will list it down below. But basically, this makes an incredible highlighter and costs like $5. Gives you so much glow. I didn't build it up even as much as I could have today, but there's still no crazy shimmer or glitter in here. It is a really booming highlight, but by no means does it end up looking like an eyeshadow on your face. And as I said in that video, it's not like, oh wow, this eyeshadow makes a great highlight. It just makes a great highlighter. It's not despite the fact that it's an eyeshadow, because I'm not the kind of person that wants to look like I have a stripe on my face. I don't particularly like glitter. My skin isn't as textured as it was, but I still just don't love that look, and I think this just makes the most beautiful highlighter, and it's like $5. For my lips, I used one of their lip liners. These are great lip liners, super creamy, come in a really nice number of shades. This one is in the shade Spice, which is just kind of like a My Lips but better, but a little more like terracotta-y, if my lips were a little more terracotta-y colored. So I added that for a little definition, and then these are one of my favorite things from Rimmel, like by far. I love this satin formula. It is the Stay Satin liquid lipstick. So I've always enjoyed their Stay Mattes, but the Stay Satins are even better. I've got a full lip swatch video if you'd like to see the line in action. A bunch of incredible nude shades if you have a skin tone like mine. This one is in the shade Shoulder Pads. Very comfortable. Gives you nice full pigmentation like a liquid lipstick. Really great wear time as well, but very comfortable because it is that satin formula. And I just think that these are so absolutely gorgeous. A great range of shades outside of nudes as well, but the nudes especially really get me. And lastly, I set everything in place with the 2-in-1 primer and setting spray. I should have used this as a mist before my makeup, but I didn't realize that that was how they kind of marketed it. It is Shine Control Locks in Makeup Quick Dry and Oil Free. Again, I can't really attest to how this looks. What I will say is that it has a really nice scent and it has a good mist, but it's almost like if you get too close to it, the mist is a little strong. So if you might be able to see in the video that I held it back quite a bit from my face to ensure that it didn't like jab me in the face. But when I looked up close after I sprayed myself, I didn't feel like it looked like I had water droplets. It was a really nice mist, and I do love their Insta Fix and Go primer slash setting spray, so I'm sure I'm gonna like that one too. And again, always great to have a drugstore oil-free just setting spray option in general, because they're a little bit limited. We're starting to get some more at the drugstore. I mean, overall I feel like the drugstore has stepped up its game tenfold in the past 2 years, so I'm feeling pretty good about this line. Definitely right now the mascara is sticking out to me. You already know how much I love that single eyeshadow, the Stay Satins. The Wonder Swipe that I used as the green glitter on my eyes is great. The eyeshadows are great. So lots of big wins in this. The only things that I'm not as sure about are the foundation and concealer, which doesn't really shock me because I'm not a huge fan of drugstore concealers. That's one of the only places I'm picky at the drugstore. In addition to that, I'm not a huge fan of mousse foundation. So I will keep testing. Of course, let me know down below if you would like to see a full review on the foundation. One other thing that I want to quickly say is in the foundation, like I said, I'm wearing 400. Yeah, 400 Natural Beige, but then the next shade up, I believe, is 501 Noisette or 500, which are both too deep for me, so I feel like they're missing a little bit here in between, and I took a look and I'm pretty sure there is nothing in between, and I haven't seen all the shades swatched in person, so although there are 23 shades, I don't know how good of a range it is, how evenly it's split between light, medium, and deep, because it's all pretty brand new, but maybe I will keep my eyes peeled and I'll be able to update you on that in the review as it starts to launch a little more readily. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know down below if you would like to see some more full face of a particular brand, and if you'd like to connect with me, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at SamanthaJaneYT, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!